Pout are an awesome game fish. They're fun to catch, but they're also delicious to eat. They're a little bit different than cleaning most other types of fish. There's a few things that you need to get set up. A fillet knife, a lot of paper towels. Have a sharpener or a steel and make sure that knife is really sharp. And the last thing is channel locks, vice grips, or even a catfish skinner would be great. But with these tools, you're set up to cut some burbot. So our first step is going to be to cut around the collar of the fish, or just right behind the head. So we're going to go all the way around. I'm going to make a cut behind the head of the fish, all the way around through the belly. And you don't want to go too deep. You just want to go just shallow enough to cut the hide away from the meat, and then we'll peel from there. Just get a nice little grip there, and you can see how the hide just right away starts peeling off. I'm just going to kind of make my way now around the fish. See, once you get so far, the hide just comes off like that. Put that in your buddy's truck or something. And then what else I like to do now is you've got these dorsal fins. I'll just pull these off, and you can just pull those back from tail to back, these top fins, and they'll just peel. They'll peel right off. See that? So now I've got a really nice point to run my knife down through. So I'm going to get rid of the guts here so I don't taint any of the meat. Okay, so we've got the hide off, we've got the guts out, so it's a little easier to work with, a little cleaner. The ribs kind of run at a 90, so you'll go down until you hit the backbone. And it's not like other fish where they're kind of curved down. These are pretty much straight out. So you're gonna hit that spine and then start cutting basically straight out. So same thing, we'll cut right behind the head. You're running right along the edge of the spine there. And when we get basically to the end of the rib cage, that's the same spot, unlike most fish where the knife would end up going straight down. See right there, boom. I'm gonna wait to do much more with that until I can turn the fish on its side. Okay, same thing up here. We're gonna cut right back in here. Okay, so you can see when I'm talking about how that rib cage comes down, that's running perpendicular to the backbone for the most part. So it just comes down and goes straight out. So now you wanna start following this off to basically a 90. You don't want to cut too deep. You want to stay above those bones, because if you go too deep, you're going to have these basically pin bones stuck in the fillet. So kind of when you're feeling the tension on your knife, just start favoring going up and out as opposed to down. Okay. Now this is what most people, this is the loin or the back strap that most people would say, oh, that's the best part of the pout. That's all you need. But you'll see here, there's a lot more to a pout than just the back strap. So now I'll come down on the back end of the ribs here, run my knife straight through, and just like now you would any fish, we're just gonna, it's not a thick piece of meat, but still either way, it's a lot of meat you have there. So there's a side of one burbot fillet. I missed a little bit here. I should have just come back to get that other little piece there, screwed that up a little bit, but I'll redeem myself on the other side. There we go, there's our boned burbot. That's it. Now you can prepare them a number of different ways. We're gonna show you one of our favorites. There are so many great ways that you can prepare burbot or eel pout. You can boil them, you can grill them, you can deep fry them, you can pan fry them. And in this recipe, I'm gonna show you something that I think is delicious. It gives you a good idea of what the meat actually tastes like. People love it. It's simple to do in the fish house, and you only need a handful of ingredients, some salt, pepper, lemon, garlic, a little butter and oil, and you're in business. So I'll show you how I go about pan frying some burbot. Now to get started, I'm gonna get the pan up to a medium-high temperature here. So I'll get this baby going. And while that's warming up, I'm gonna make sure that the fillets or these chunks of pout that I've got here are dried. If they're wet, you're not gonna develop that nice sear that you want to develop a crust on the outside of the pout. And then while this is heating up, I'm also gonna season them. In this case, I'm gonna do salt and pepper. Now, just like I dried off the fillets, but I don't wanna add salt to these too soon, because as soon as I add salt, the fillets are gonna start to sweat and bring moisture to the surface. So what I'll do is I'll season this one side with black pepper, I'll flip them over, season the other side with black pepper, and then salt on one side right before we put them in the pan. All right, looks like the pan's starting to get warm. Now I'm gonna add just a little bit of oil to the pan. I'm not gonna put a lot of oil in here. I just want it to be a nice, shiny surface on here, maybe a tablespoon or so, I'd say, and just kind of spread that around. Okay, now that I feel like the pan is up to temperature, I'm gonna go ahead and salt the fish here. And now just to be sure, before we just throw them all in, just go ahead and test it. See how it's got that nice sound to it? Do the salt side down to start with this. And you don't really want to crowd the pan either. So in this case, I'm going to do 9 chunks. Try to get the most equally sized pieces of Burbot on there. Temperature is pretty key in this. Too hot, you're going to burn them. Too cool, and they're not going to develop that nice coating. So I'll maybe let these sit on here for a minute or two, or until they start to break loose. A nice thin spatula is a good tool to have for this as well, so you don't wreck that crust that develops on the bottom. So let's just check one here. It's getting there, still has a little ways to go. Okay, I think these are to the point that I'm ready to flip them. So before I do so, I'm gonna salt the other side here. There we go. Starting to get that nice brown color. There we go, that's what we're looking for. While that's searing, I'm gonna go ahead and get the butter. I'm gonna turn up the heat just ever so slightly to help compensate for the cooler butter. Got a couple tabs of butter in here. I'm also going to throw in a little bit of garlic. I've just got a big clove here. I'm going to cut it in thirds. So I'm going to spoon this over the fish. So get that garlic in there. We're cranking the heat now. We're going to finish them. So we're kind of going to a higher temperature. You're basically spooning garlic butter over the fillets here, or over the pieces of meat. And we'll do this for a few minutes. It is so much like a scallop. It's unbelievable. Look at that nice, look at that sugary, caramely, delicious. Now those are out. All right, now to finish these things, we're just gonna go ahead and take a lemon, squeeze the lemon. All right, there you have it. Burbot, done in a frying pan, easy. Lemon, garlic, salt, pepper, oil, butter. That's all you need, and I'm telling you what, everybody is going to love these delicious little Burbot bites. So good, so different than any other fish you'll have.